Have you ever been in a situation where someone you once trusted, or someone who appeared harmless, suddenly turns manipulative when they realize you've seen through their act? It's a moment that can feel sharp, almost electric, when the mask slips, and you see them for who they truly are. No longer can they hide behind charm or fake concern. You figured them out, and they know it. Everything changes after that. What happens next? Instead of backing down, the manipulator becomes more strategic. They shift their tactics, more deliberate, more calculated. No longer will they try to charm you into compliance. They will now use psychological warfare to regain control. But here's the thing. They've lost their edge the moment you've seen through them. Now here's the real question. How do you respond? Do you fall into their trap, reacting emotionally, defending yourself, or justifying your actions? Or do you stand firm in your own power, using calm, clarity, and composure as your weapon? The answer lies in Stoic philosophy. Stoicism teaches us a simple, yet incredibly powerful truth. The most dangerous people aren't the loudest. They are the ones who remain calm, composed, and in control. People who don't react emotionally to every challenge thrown their way. In this video, we will explore 6 things bad people do when they know that you know, and more importantly, we'll uncover how Stoic principles can help you respond with strength and wisdom. These principles will not only protect your peace, but they'll also give you the tools to remain untouchable by the manipulative tactics of others. The true power is not in your reaction to their moves, but in your ability to stay calm and unshaken. This is not just about avoiding manipulation, it's about mastering yourself, remaining centered, and refusing to be moved by others' attempts to control you. When a manipulative person realizes they've been exposed, they will always try to regain control. They might play the victim. They'll attempt to twist the narrative, making you seem overly sensitive or overly dramatic. The goal is simple: to make you question your own perception of the situation. They will act like nothing happened, or, even worse, they'll pretend that you're the one who is in the wrong for noticing the manipulation. This is a tactic designed to discredit your insight, making you doubt yourself. But here's where Stoic wisdom gives you a distinct advantage. You don't need to engage with their distortion of reality. In fact, engaging with it only fuels their narrative. When Marcus Aurelius was confronted with liars and manipulative figures in his life, he didn't argue. He didn't try to correct the story they were telling. Instead, he focused on living in a way that made lies powerless. He didn't waste energy trying to prove the truth to people who refused to see it. Instead, he let his actions do the talking. This is the essence of silent power. When you don't react to the game they try to play, when you refuse to engage with their distorted view of reality, you become like a calm force, unshakable and immune to their attempts to provoke or control you. The most dangerous person in any room isn't the one who reacts to every slight or insult. It's the one who stays silent, who doesn't flinch, and who remains grounded no matter what chaos is unfolding around them. When you remain composed, when you stop playing into the manipulator's narrative, you no longer give them control over your emotions or actions. You've taken away the weapon they rely on, the ability to make you doubt yourself, to make you react in a way that benefits them. You've mastered yourself. This power isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being unpredictable in your calmness, unpredictable in your ability to not react. When everyone around you is escalating, when they're fighting for attention or scrambling for validation, you become a presence that commands respect without saying a word. When you understand Stoicism and apply its principles, you become a person who doesn't need to justify their actions, doesn't need to explain their intentions. You don't need to apologize for your boundaries or your choices. Instead, you live by your values, and your consistency becomes your greatest strength. Now think about this. How many times have you found yourself reacting to someone else's manipulative behavior? How often have you been baited into defending yourself or trying to explain something to someone who's not really listening? Stoicism teaches us to take a step back from these situations, to respond, not react. The key to unshakable strength is not engaging in the drama. It's not letting others pull you into their emotional games. Instead, you remain silent, you stay grounded, and you let your actions speak louder than any words they could throw at you. So, in the next few sections, we will explore 6 specific tactics manipulative people use when they know you've seen through them. These tactics are designed to regain control, to make you doubt yourself, or to provoke you into a reaction. We'll also discuss how you can counter each one with the power of Stoic philosophy, how you can protect your peace, maintain your composure, and remain untouchable in every situation. Now that we've set the stage, it's time for you to take action. If you're ready to stop being manipulated, to stop reacting emotionally, and to start living with stoic clarity and calm, then I invite you to comment below. I will remain calm and in control. Like this video, if you're ready to live with stoic strength and not let others manipulate you. Subscribe to True Stoic Way for more actionable tips and strategies to protect your peace, control your emotions, and stop being controlled by others. Your peace is your power. Start protecting it today. Let's talk about the first thing bad people do when they realize you've seen through their facade. They flip the narrative. Imagine this scenario. You're in a conversation, maybe with a colleague, a friend, or even a partner. They've been pulling the strings behind the scenes, manipulating situations to their advantage, playing the victim, twisting facts, but you've caught on. You've figured them out. The mask has slipped. Instead of owning up to their behavior, they immediately try to shift the story. Suddenly, you're not the one who saw through their lies. You're not the one who caught them in the act. Now you're the one overreacting. You're the sensitive one. You're the one making a big deal out of nothing. They might even claim they were just joking or misunderstood. And in that moment, they try to make you question your own reality. This is where the true test of your inner strength comes in. How do you respond? Do you get defensive and argue? Do you fall into the trap of explaining yourself over and over again? Do you try to convince them of the truth only to feel like your words fall on deaf ears? That's exactly what they want. They want you to get lost in the details. They want you to engage emotionally because once you react, you give up your power. And the moment you react, they win. The Stoics have a simple yet incredibly powerful answer to this. Don't engage. You don't need to defend your honor or prove your truth to anyone who is not open to seeing it. What you need to do is stay calm, stay grounded, and most importantly, stay silent when faced with this kind of manipulation. This is where Stoic strength comes into play. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the actions or reactions of others, but we can control how we respond. When faced with a manipulator who tries to flip the narrative, you have 2 choices. React emotionally and get caught up in their game. Stay calm, stay true to your principles, and let your actions speak for themselves. This is the power of silence. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to convince anyone of your truth. Instead, let your actions reveal the truth. Here's the kicker. The more you engage with them in their game, the more you give them control. The more you react, the more they get to decide the narrative. But when you refuse to engage, when you remain centered in your own truth and refuse to play their game, you take away their power. Let me share the story of Thomas, a friend of mine who learned this lesson the hard way. Thomas worked in a corporate environment, and like many of us, he had a colleague who was always trying to manipulate situations for personal gain. At first, Thomas would react. He would argue, explain, try to reason with this colleague every time he was called out for something shady. But every time Thomas reacted, the manipulative colleague would twist things further, and Thomas would feel drained. He felt like he couldn't win no matter what he said. One day, Thomas decided enough was enough. He stopped engaging. He stopped reacting. Instead, when his colleague tried to manipulate him again, Thomas simply stayed calm and refused to be baited. The result? His colleague became frustrated. They couldn't get under his skin anymore. And slowly but surely, the manipulator stopped trying to provoke him. By refusing to engage, Thomas had regained control. Why does this approach work? It works because you're no longer caught in their narrative. You no longer react according to their script. You've stopped giving them emotional leverage. Here's the Stoic insight. A manipulator's power comes from your emotional reaction. The moment you stop reacting to their manipulations, you neutralize their control. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most respected Stoics, didn't engage with people who tried to drag him into unnecessary debates or false narratives. He focused on living virtuously, on being consistent with his principles, no matter how others acted. He didn't try to correct every lie. He let his actions speak. You can do the same. When someone tries to flip the narrative and make you question yourself, stay calm, stay grounded, and let your integrity shine through your actions. Take action. Now, recognize manipulation. Pay attention when someone tries to make you doubt your truth. Stay calm. Refuse to react emotionally. Let your actions speak. Focus on living according to your values. Your consistent actions will speak louder than words. Remember this. The more you react, the more you give them control. The less you react, the more you take back your power. So the next time someone tries to flip the narrative and make you the villain in their story, don't fall for it. Stay grounded in your truth. Let your actions show the world who you really are. And when they see you're not emotionally triggered, when they see you're not playing their game, they will fear you, not because you're loud, but because you're unshakable. If you're tired of being manipulated, if you're ready to stop reacting emotionally, and if you're ready to live with stoic clarity and stay calm in the face of chaos, here's what you can do. Comment below. I will remain calm and unshaken. Share this video with someone who needs to stop reacting to manipulation and start living with stoic power. Subscribe to True Stoic Way for more insights on how to protect your peace, control your emotions, and become untouchable. Let's move on to the next tactic manipulative people use when they realize you figured them out. They will pretend nothing happened. This is one of the most insidious techniques because it plays on something deep inside all of us, our desire for peace and resolution. Imagine this scenario. You've caught someone in a lie. You've seen through their manipulative tactics and they know you know. But instead of addressing it, they simply act as though nothing happened. They act as though you didn't just catch them in the middle of a deceitful act. They'll pretend everything is normal. They'll greet you with a smile, speak to you like nothing is wrong, and continue with their life as if they've done nothing to hurt you. And here's the catch. They're testing you. They want to see if you will go back to your old self, if you'll just pretend nothing happened too, if you'll forgive them without ever addressing what they did. They'll use this tactic to regain emotional control over you, hoping you'll drop the issue and go back to the status quo. But here's the truth. This is just another attempt to manipulate you, and if you fall for it, they've won. You've lost your power. So how do you respond to this tactic? The Stoic response is simple. Don't react. Don't engage in their game. Don't pretend that everything is fine when it's not. Don't feel the need to explain, confront, or express your frustration. Remain calm. Stay silent. This doesn't mean you forgive them immediately or sweep the issue under the rug. It means you refuse to let them control your emotions. You're not reacting to their bait. You're observing. Silence is your defense. It's your shield. In moments like this, your silence becomes incredibly powerful. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to chase after an apology or force a resolution. You protect your peace by staying silent, by not falling into the trap of engagement. By not playing their game, you disarm them completely. Let me share a real-life example that perfectly illustrates this tactic. Sarah worked in an office where a colleague named John regularly tried to undermine her work. He'd take credit for her ideas, spread rumors about her in meetings, and would often make subtle, underhanded comments. One day, Sarah confronted him. She didn't shout or get emotional. She simply said, "I know what you're doing, and I'm not going to let it slide." John knew he had been exposed, but instead of owning up to it, instead of apologizing, he did something unexpected. He pretended nothing happened. The next day, he smiled at Sarah, acted friendly, and tried to continue working like nothing had occurred. He even asked for her help on a project, as if he hadn't just tried to sabotage her. It was as if he wanted to see if she would just let it go and return to the status quo. He hoped that by acting normal, Sarah would move on and never address the betrayal. But Sarah didn't engage. She didn't fall for it. Instead, she stayed silent. She didn't respond to his forced niceties. She didn't even bring up the incident again. She simply focused on her work. She didn't allow him to invade her emotional space. And do you know what happened? The more Sarah stayed silent, the more John began to feel uncomfortable. His fake friendliness started to feel awkward. He stopped trying to manipulate her because he realized he couldn't control her anymore. Silence was her weapon. She took back her power without a single word. You might be wondering, why is silence so powerful? The reason is simple. Silence gives you the space to control yourself, not them. When you remain silent in the face of someone who is pretending nothing happened, you are not being passive. You are protecting your peace. You are choosing to not waste your energy on someone who doesn't deserve it. Stoicism teaches us this. You cannot control other people. You cannot make them apologize. You cannot change their behavior. But you can control how you respond. By choosing silence, you choose inner peace. You choose to stay true to your principles and maintain your emotional composure. Silence in this context isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about avoiding unnecessary emotional turmoil. It's about taking a step back and recognizing that some people don't deserve your emotional investment. Here's the action you need to take. Recognize the manipulation when someone pretends nothing happened after they've wronged you. Choose silence over engaging in their false narrative. Protect your peace by not reacting. Observe them and their behavior. Let their actions, not their words, show who they are. By practicing this approach, you not only disarm them but also remain unshakable. The next time someone tries to pretend nothing happened, you'll know how to stay calm, focused, and emotionally independent. Remember, the less you react, the more control you regain. Comment below, I choose silence as my power. Like this video, if you're ready to stop engaging with toxic behaviors and start protecting your peace with Stoic wisdom. Share this with someone who needs to stop reacting to manipulative behavior and learn the strength of silence. Subscribe to True Stoic. Wait for more strategies on how to stay unshaken, unmovable, and untouchable. After a manipulative person realizes they can no longer control you through direct confrontation, they move to a more covert form of attack, undermining you behind closed doors. This is one of the most subtle tactics. Instead of confronting you openly, they now work in the shadows. They'll spread rumors, tell lies, or twist the truth to make you look bad to others, all while hiding behind the safety of whispers and secrecy. They know they can't win in the open, so they play the game in private. They manipulate the perception others have of you, hoping to tarnish your reputation without you even realizing it. But here's the real issue. They are too cowardly to face you directly, and yet they know that if they can erode your trust with others, they gain an advantage over you. This tactic is deceptive and can hurt you in ways that are difficult to pinpoint. When you lose respect in front of your colleagues, friends, or community, it's not always immediately obvious. But make no mistake, this silent sabotage can slowly chip away at your credibility and your peace of mind. So, how do you respond? The Stoic response is clear. Don't engage. When someone tries to undermine you in private, don't waste your energy reacting to their lies. Don't confront the gossip. Don't try to defend yourself. Don't waste your time proving the truth to those who are too eager to believe falsehoods. What the Stoics understood, and what we must realize, is that the only thing you can control is your own actions. Marcus Aurelius, when faced with those who tried to slander him or spread lies about him, didn't try to argue. He didn't spend his time refuting rumors. Instead, he focused on living according to his values and letting his actions speak for themselves. The Stoic approach here is to continue living with integrity, regardless of the lies others spread about you. Your reputation isn't built on what others say about you. It's built on how you live. Let's look at Sarah as an example. She worked at a company where her colleague John had always been passive-aggressive and undercutting her ideas. At first, she thought it was just workplace rivalry, but then she started to hear rumors. John was telling other colleagues that Sarah's ideas weren't her own and that she was a silent opportunist. At first, Sarah felt the sting. It was unfair, it was painful. And the worst part? She didn't know how to confront it. She didn't even know who was spreading the lies. But Sarah remembered something she read about Stoic philosophy: to live with integrity and to let your actions speak for you. Instead of confronting John or retaliating, Sarah focused on her work. She stayed consistent, she kept delivering results, and she made sure her actions spoke louder than the lies. Over time, John's manipulation became obvious to others. Sarah didn't need to explain anything. She just kept doing the work, and that alone made her untouchable. Her colleagues saw who was trustworthy, who was reliable, and who was just playing games behind the scenes. And Sarah? She became someone who couldn't be undermined, not because she fought back, but because her integrity and consistency outshone the lies. You might wonder why this strategy works so well. Why does simply continuing to live with integrity protect you from gossip and slander? The reason is simple. Your actions cannot be undone by lies. When you act consistently, when your behavior is always aligned with your values, people will notice. The manipulator may try to twist the truth, but their words will eventually lose weight against the foundation of your actions. When you stand firm in who you are, when you keep living out your principles despite others' attempts to drag you into drama, the truth always rises to the surface. People might be confused at first, but over time, the lies will unravel and your integrity will shine through. Stoic wisdom tells us that the only thing we can truly control is how we act, and actions speak louder than words. So how do you implement this Stoic response in your life? Recognize the tactic. When you realize someone is trying to undermine you in secret, don't give in to the temptation to confront them or retaliate. Focus on your actions. Instead of fighting back with words, focus on living in alignment with your values. Let your work and integrity speak for themselves. Maintain your composure. Don't let rumors or gossip pull you into a cycle of defending yourself. Stay calm, stay focused, and keep living with consistency. Observe the truth unfold. Over time, your actions will expose the lies. Your reputation will be built on what you do, not what others say about you. Remember, You don't need to fight the battle on their terms. You just need to keep winning the war with your own actions. Comment below. I choose to live with integrity. I don't need to defend myself. Share this video with someone who's facing behind-the-scenes sabotage and needs to learn how to protect their peace. Like this video if you're ready to stop being undermined and start letting your actions do the talking. Subscribe to True Stoic. Wait for more Stoic wisdom on how to live a life of unshakable integrity and peace. Once a manipulator realizes they can no longer control you through direct confrontation or emotional manipulation, they often resort to undermining you in secret. This is when things get a little more devious. They know they can't manipulate you in open situations anymore, so they start working behind the scenes. They'll use subtle tactics to sabotage your progress, making things difficult for you without you even knowing it. They may spread false rumors about you, discredit your ideas quietly in meetings, try to make you look bad in front of others without direct confrontation. The goal is clear. Create obstacles for you, obstacles you can't even see. They might do this in ways that don't leave any obvious traces, but over time, it starts to add up. Their goal is to frustrate you, throw you off track, and make you doubt your own abilities. The Stoic response to covert sabotage is simple. Don't engage. The key here is not to get pulled into their game. If you react, if you start trying to expose them or fight back, you lose your focus. You let them take you off course. You give them the power to control the narrative. Instead, do what the Stoics did. Keep your focus on the work. Continue working toward your goals. Stay aligned with your values and don't waste energy on fighting invisible enemies. Silence is your strategy here. When you don't engage in their subtle games, when you refuse to react to their sabotage, you take back your power. You refuse to let them distract you, and you stay focused on what matters most, your purpose. This doesn't mean you ignore everything. It means you let your actions do the talking. You build your success so solidly and consistently that no one can undermine you, no matter how secretly they try to do it. Let's talk about Lisa, a colleague of mine who dealt with this exact scenario. Lisa worked for a company where she had a co-worker, Mark, who consistently sabotaged her work. He didn't do it openly, but he would constantly take credit for her ideas, misrepresent her contributions in meetings, and downplay her successes when speaking to others. At first, Lisa tried to confront him. She spoke up in meetings, tried to point out the inaccuracies, and explained how his actions were hurting her. But every time she tried to defend herself, Mark turned the situation around and made Lisa look overzealous or defensive. It was exhausting, and it felt like she was constantly swimming upstream. After some time, Lisa took a different approach. She stopped reacting. Instead of addressing Mark's sabotage directly, she quietly focused on producing results. She started working with more efficiency, delivering even better ideas, and making sure her work was consistently visible to those who mattered. She refused to waste energy confronting Mark's lies. Eventually, her colleagues began to notice. They started seeing who was really delivering. Lisa's consistent performance spoke volumes. Mark's behind-the-scenes manipulation became obvious, and without a single word from Lisa, her reputation became unshakable. By staying silent, focusing on her work, and refusing to engage in unnecessary drama, Lisa regained control over her career. Why is silence such a powerful tool when dealing with sabotage? Because actions speak louder than words, especially in situations where words are being twisted. The more you engage in trying to expose the sabotage, the more you give it power. But when you focus on your work, when you consistently show up and deliver results, you make the sabotage irrelevant. The more you let their tactics distract you, the more you lose focus. But when you stay true to your values and act with integrity, you turn every attempt to undermine you into another opportunity to prove your worth. By doing the work without needing to defend yourself, you show your strength. And strength, true, unshakable strength, is the one thing no one can manipulate. So what can you do when you suspect someone is sabotaging you behind the scenes? Recognize the sabotage. Understand when someone is working against you covertly. Trust your instincts and acknowledge that they're trying to undermine you without direct confrontation. Don't react. Stay calm and focused. Resist the temptation to engage or confront them. The more you react, the more power you give them. Keep delivering results. Work quietly. Let your consistency, your integrity, and your results do the talking. Don't let distractions from the sabotage take you off track. Let silence be your shield. When they see you don't engage, when they see you unshaken and focused on your work, their attempts to sabotage will lose their power. Stay true to your Stoic principles. Live by your values. Stay disciplined and continue to work with purpose. Your actions will naturally speak, louder than their whispers and lies. Comment below. I choose silence and action over drama. Like this video if you're ready to stop being sabotaged and start showing your power through consistent action. Share this video with someone who's dealing with hidden attacks and needs to learn how to regain control through Stoic calm. Subscribe to True Stoic Way for more actionable insights on how to protect your peace, maintain your composure, and become untouchable by external manipulation. Now we're moving to one of the most subtle and dangerous tactics manipulative people use once they realize their previous strategies have failed. They turn to silence as a tool to manipulate you. At first, this might seem like a non-issue. After all, silence doesn't seem like a direct attack, does it? But when a manipulator realizes they can no longer control you through aggression or emotional manipulation, they'll quietly pull back. They may stop responding to your messages, stop engaging in conversations, or withdraw emotionally. The goal? To make you feel confused, to get inside your head. They want you to wonder if you've done something wrong. They want you to chase them, to seek validation, and to crack under the pressure of their emotional withdrawal. It's a power move. You may start questioning yourself, asking, did I say something wrong? Should I have handled that better? Why are they ignoring me? What's going on? But here's the truth. This silence is not passive. It's a calculated tactic. They know that the longer they stay silent, the more it will affect you. They know you'll start second-guessing yourself and seeking answers from them. They are forcing you into a position where you feel like you need to chase them to resolve the situation. But here's where Stoic wisdom offers us a powerful tool for handling this. Instead of feeling disturbed or lost in their silence, you can choose to stay calm and use their silence as a weapon in your favor. So, how do you respond when someone tries to use silence to manipulate you? Don't react. Stay silent in return. The Stoics understood that silence is one of the most powerful forms of control. By choosing to not react to someone's emotional withdrawal or silence, you take away their power to manipulate you. Instead of reaching out to them, seeking answers, or attempting to fix the situation, let the silence stand. Don't feel compelled to fill the void. Don't chase after someone who is trying to make you feel unsettled. Instead, stay grounded in your peace and let their silence create the disturbance for them, not for you. By staying calm and refusing to be manipulated into filling their silence with your own anxiety or responses, you take back control of the situation. You show that you cannot be controlled by emotional games or tactics. Let's look at Mark, who worked with a colleague named Ellen. Ellen was highly manipulative. At first, she used charm to get what she wanted, but when Mark started setting boundaries and rejecting her manipulative tactics, she shifted strategies. She would withhold communication. She would stop responding to his emails, give him cold responses in person, and withdraw emotionally. Mark, initially confused, started chasing after her. He tried to reach out, asking if everything was okay, but Ellen's silence only grew. She was pulling away, but not because she was upset. She was testing him. She wanted to see if Mark would seek her approval. She wanted to know if he was emotionally dependent on her responses. She wanted to see if he would crack. But Mark, after learning about Stoicism, decided to stop reacting. Instead of chasing her down or trying to force a conversation, he chose to stay silent too. He didn't give in to the emotional game she was playing. He focused on his work, kept his head high, and didn't let her silence affect him. Eventually, Ellen realized that her silence wasn't having the desired effect. She couldn't make him feel anxious or unsettled. She gave up trying to manipulate him and started treating him with more respect. Mark's silence had become his power. He didn't need to prove anything. He simply let his calmness send a message, stronger than any words could. Why is silence so powerful in these situations? Because silence forces the manipulator to reveal their true intent. When you remain unshaken, unbothered, and don't engage with their emotional games, you force them to play their hand. They can't continue manipulating you if you refuse to be affected by their tactics. The moment you react, the moment you chase after their approval or seek answers from them, you lose your control. You let them dictate the narrative. But when you stay silent, you give no fuel to their game. You take away their weapon of emotional manipulation. And here's the beauty of it. You control the situation. So how can you apply this in your life when someone tries to manipulate you through silence? Recognize the tactic. Understand when silence is being used as a manipulation tactic. Recognize that their goal is to make you anxious or feel like you've done something wrong. Don't chase them. Resist the urge to reach out. Don't chase someone who is emotionally withdrawing from you. Let the silence stand. Use Stoic silence as your tool. Remain calm, composed, and focused. Let their silence affect them, not you. Stay grounded. Don't let their emotional withdrawal disturb your peace. Instead, continue focusing on what you can control, your own actions, your goals, and your inner calm. Keep your power. Control your own emotions. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to justify your worth. Let your actions speak for you. Comment below. I choose silence as my weapon. Like this video if you're ready to stop being manipulated by silence and start using it as a powerful tool to regain control. Share this video with someone who needs to understand the power of Stoic silence in dealing with emotional manipulation. Subscribe to True Stoic Way for more strategies to protect your peace and maintain emotional control. When all else fails and the manipulator realizes they can't control you with manipulation, gaslighting, or silence, they will often attempt the most subtle tactic of all. They try to charm you back or pretend to have changed. It's the classic strategy. Fake improvement. They may suddenly become kind, apologetic, and over-the-top nice. They'll promise they've seen the error of their ways, that they understand now, and that they've changed for the better. They may give you a few compliments or act like they want to make amends. They might say things like, "I've learned so much from this situation. I know I messed up, and I'm working on myself. I don't want to lose you as a friend, partner, colleague." In other words, they try to lure you back with charm or a false promise of change, knowing that you might feel compassion or guilt if you don't give them another chance. It's a clever tactic because it plays on your desire for harmony, for resolution. They want you to believe that deep down, they are good people who just made a mistake. But here's the truth. Change takes time, and change is proven by actions, not words. So how should you respond when someone suddenly flips the script and starts to charm you, promising change and acting different? Don't fall for it. The Stoic response is simple. Observe their actions, not their words. Don't get caught in the trap of believing the apology, believing the promises, or believing the sudden flood of kindness. Believe only what you see. A person who truly changes doesn't need to tell you. They show you. They demonstrate change through consistent, genuine action, not through persuasive talk or emotional manipulation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, didn't fall for empty words. He measured people by their actions, not their promises. Stoicism teaches us that words are cheap, and what matters most is how someone behaves over time. Actions don't lie. If someone really has changed, their actions will be consistent with their words over the long term. They won't need to keep apologizing or promising. They will prove their transformation by how they behave. Let me tell you about Jenny and how she dealt with this exact situation. Jenny had been in a toxic friendship with Rachel for a while. Rachel would manipulate, lie, and always play the victim when things went wrong. Jenny finally reached a breaking point. After months of putting up with Rachel's behavior, she decided to cut ties. However, Rachel didn't let go easily. She started to charm Jenny back. She apologized. She sent thoughtful messages. She promised she had changed. And for a moment, Jenny thought maybe this time it was different. Maybe Rachel had really learned from her mistakes. But Jenny, having learned the value of Stoic wisdom, decided to observe, not react. She stopped focusing on Rachel's promises and instead paid attention to her actions. Over the next few weeks, Rachel started to show her true colors again: small lies, manipulative behavior, and self-serving actions. Rachel's charm was just a temporary tactic. It wasn't real change. Jenny realized that, and without drama or confrontation, she simply continued to distance herself and allowed Rachel to fade from her life. Jenny didn't need to get swept up in Rachel's emotional appeal or her false promises of change. She measured Rachel by her actions, and Rachel had shown that she was still the same manipulative person. Here's why this Stoic response is so powerful. Words are easy to say, actions are hard to fake. When someone is trying to charm you back or promise that they've changed, ask yourself, have their actions shown this change, or are they just repeating words? Words are the easiest tool in manipulation. They don't require anything real. But actions demand consistency, discipline, and real transformation. And as a Stoic, you don't rely on promises. You rely on what you can see. A person who has truly changed will not need to constantly apologize or prove themselves. Their behavior will demonstrate their growth. If they are using charm or promising change without backing it up with consistent action, they are still playing the same game. So, what should you do when someone tries to win you back with charm or empty promises of change? Don't get caught up in the words. Recognize when someone is trying to manipulate you with charm and promises. Observe their behavior. Pay attention to their actions, not their words. Let their actions prove the change. If they've really changed, their actions will consistently align with their words. Don't settle for just an apology. Look for lasting change. Stay firm in your boundaries. Don't fall back into old patterns just because they've changed. Protect your peace by maintaining your boundaries, and don't allow yourself to be manipulated again. Comment below. I choose actions over words. Like this video if you're ready to stop falling for empty promises and start living with clarity and strength. Share this video with someone who needs to learn how to protect themselves from charm and false promises. Subscribe to True Stoic Way for more insights on how to live a life of unshakable strength, unpredictable calm, and untouchable integrity. Throughout this journey, we've broken down the 6 tactics bad people use when they realize you've seen through them. From flipping the narrative, pretending nothing happened, trying to sabotage you in secret, using silence as a tool, to shifting to charm or false promises of change. These are all manipulative tactics designed to regain control. But here's the truth you need to walk away with. The real power doesn't lie in controlling others, it lies in mastering yourself. You. See, people can only manipulate you when you allow them to. They can only control your emotions when you let them. They can only provoke you when they know they can get a reaction. The moment you stop reacting to their games, the moment you take back control of your own emotional state, you become unpredictable. You become untouchable. And that's when you realize your power was never in trying to change them. It was in changing yourself. Stoicism isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about learning to respond with clarity and maintain control over yourself, no matter what chaos or manipulation unfolds around you. When you live by Stoic principles, you stop giving your power away. You stop letting others define your reality. You stop being a pawn in someone else's game. You decide how you respond. You decide what gets your energy. You decide what gets to affect your peace of mind. And when you choose to stay calm, when you choose to live by your principles instead of reacting emotionally, you make everyone around you feel the weight of your power, even if you don't say a word. Think about this. How many times have you been pulled into someone else's emotional chaos? How many times have you found yourself reacting, defending, or justifying your actions, only to end up feeling drained, frustrated, and manipulated? You've been there, engaging with people who try to twist your words, who make you feel like you're overreacting, or who simply ignore the truth you're presenting. And each time you react, you feel your control slipping away. But here's the paradox. The more you refuse to react, the more you remain calm, the more you hold on to your own emotional control, the more you start to realize that they have no power over you. That's where true power lies, in the mastery of your own emotions, in knowing who you are, and in staying grounded in your values no matter what anyone else does. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being unshakable. Not because you're unfeeling, but because you know your worth, and you're not going to allow anyone to manipulate you into doubting it. Now that you understand these tactics and have the tools to defend yourself, it's time for you to take action. The most powerful weapon you have in your arsenal is silence. It's a weapon that doesn't need to be drawn. It simply shields you from the emotional manipulation of others. It's not the silence of indifference, but the silence of inner strength. The silence that comes from choosing peace over drama and manipulation. The silence that makes people realize you cannot be controlled. Let your silence become your sharpest weapon. When people try to provoke you, don't engage. When they attempt to distort the truth, don't waste your time trying to correct them. When they spread lies about you, let your actions speak for themselves. Let silence be your sword, and watch as others retreat, realizing that they can no longer affect you. You don't need to say you're strong. You don't need to tell others how powerful you are. You don't need to brag about your inner strength. Let your presence speak louder than your words. When you are calm, centered, and unshakable in the face of provocation, people will notice. When you don't react to their games, when you don't engage with their lies, when you stay true to your values, your strength becomes undeniable. It's not about being loud. It's not about being the most visible in the room. It's about being solid, reliable, and unmoved by the chaos around you. That is real power, and that's what Stoicism teaches. True strength is not in the noise you make. It's in the peace you maintain, no matter the circumstances. Take action today. Recognize when you're being manipulated. Refuse to react to emotional games or false narratives. Stand firm in your values and let your actions prove who you are. Let your silence be your shield and your actions be your sword. If you're ready to stop being manipulated, if you're ready to stop reacting emotionally, and if you want to start living with Stoic clarity, here's what you need to do. Comment below. I choose peace and control over reaction. Like this video, if you're ready to embody silent strength and stop allowing others to manipulate your emotions. Share this video with someone who needs to stop being affected by others' games and start living with calm, stoic power. Subscribe to True Stoic Way for more wisdom on how to live with unshakable strength, calm in the chaos, and untouchable peace. Your peace is your power. It's time to protect it. Start today.